The first time Lieutenant Marcus Hale set eyes on her, he thought the shimmering figure in the containment chamber was a hallucination. The lights aboard the Terran exploratory vessel Argus flickered in the faint glow of the nearby nebula, and there, behind transparent steel, stood someone who should not have existed. Tall, regal, and draped in what seemed like woven light, she met his gaze with eyes like molten silver. They were not the cold eyes of an invader, nor the frightened stare of a captive, but something in between, dangerous, unreadable, yet filled with a depth of memory that made Hale feel suddenly insignificant. Subject 47, announced Dr. Kessler, the ship's chief xenobiologist, breaking Hale's trance. Recovered from the derelict craft. Humanoid physiology with anomalous genetic coding. Caution is recommended. But Marcus wasn't listening. He'd been in the Terran fleet long enough to know when someone, or something, wasn't meant to be locked in a cage. The alien woman didn't look like a specimen. She looked like royalty. And he wasn't wrong. Part 1. The captive of starlight. The Argus had intercepted a faint distress signal near the Halian Rift, a sector avoided by most fleets due to spatial distortions. The wreckage of a massive vessel drifted among shattered asteroids. Within the husk of that alien craft, amidst the silence of the void, the salvage team found her. Still alive, preserved in a cryogenic pod surrounded by glyphs no human linguist could decipher. When the pod was opened, the woman awoke with no sign of disorientation. Instead, she stepped out as though she had merely taken a short nap, her posture tall, her chin high, her presence commanding. Dr. Kessler insisted on containment. Protocol demanded it. But Marcus noticed the way she observed everything. The crew, the chamber, even the very metal walls, as if she were measuring them against standards none of them could comprehend. That night, while stationed near her cell, Marcus witnessed the incident. A curious young ensign, emboldened by nervous laughter from his peers, pressed his hand against the transparent barrier. Perhaps it was mockery, perhaps simple curiosity, but his words carried across the silence. "Hey, alien princess, what's with the glowing gown? Fashion show in space." Marcus was halfway through reprimanding him when it happened. The barrier hummed, and the alien woman raised her hand. Slowly, gracefully. Her voice resonated like music played on glass. "Touch me again, human," she said, her tone quiet yet sharp enough to slice through the room, "and face the consequences." The ensign stumbled back, pale, and the chamber lights dimmed for a moment as if her presence alone had drained the power. Marcus realized then that she wasn't just posturing. She had authority, confidence born not from arrogance, but from someone who had once ruled or commanded, far more than any of them could imagine. Part 2. The Name of the Forgotten. Over the following days, Marcus found himself assigned again and again to guard duty near her chamber. Dr. Kessler called it coincidence. Marcus wasn't so sure. She never spoke unless spoken to, but when she did, her words carried weight. Slowly, fragments of her identity emerged. Her name, as best as human tongues could shape it, was Serenia. She was not simply from a distant planet, but from an empire that had once stretched across sectors now marked as void space. Her people, the Illyrian, had mastered sciences that made Terran warp drives look like primitive engines. But ambition had drawn enemies, and betrayal had fractured the empire. Serenia had been a princess, not of luxury, but of responsibility. Her role was to safeguard treaties, oversee interstellar councils, and hold together the fragile unity of dozens of species. She spoke of her duties not with pride, but with the weariness of someone who carried too much for too long. "How long has it been?" she asked Marcus one cycle, her voice soft through the barrier. "How many of your generations since the Illyrian lights dimmed?" Marcus didn't have the heart to tell her that no record of the Illyrian existed in any Terran archive. Whatever her people had built, it had been erased by time or conquest. Thousands of years, maybe more, he admitted. For the first time her composure cracked. Her hand, usually so steady, trembled as it touched the barrier, not to challenge but to grieve. Part 3: The Breach. The Argus was not alone for long. 2 weeks after Serenia's recovery, an unidentified vessel emerged from warp. Its jagged design screamed hostility. Before Captain Reese could issue orders, the vessel broadcast a single message in broken, automated Terran speech. "Deliver the Illyrian Royal, or perish." The crew exchanged nervous glances. Serenia's eyes closed, as though she had expected this. "They are remnants," she said quietly. "Carrion scavengers who survived the fall of my empire. They hunt me because of what I know. Because my blood still binds what remains of the Illyrian legacy." The captain convened the officers. Protocol demanded that no alien influence jeopardize Terran security. Dr. Kessler argued to hand her over. "We cannot risk war over one being," he said. "She is not our responsibility." But Marcus slammed his fist on the table. "You don't get it. If they're hunting her, it means she matters. If she matters, then so does the knowledge she carries. We can't just give her up." The captain hesitated, torn between duty and conscience. Before a decision could be finalized, alarms blared. The enemy vessel launched boarding pods. The Argus shook under impact. Armed marauders stormed the corridors. Marcus sprinted to the containment wing, knowing exactly who they were after. He found Serenia already outside her chamber. The barrier was shattered, not by the attackers but by her own will. Energy still crackled at her fingertips. She met Marcus's stare, silver eyes burning. "You would protect me, human." Without hesitation, Marcus handed her his sidearm. "I'd stand with you." Her lips curved, not in a smile, but in acknowledgement. Part 4. Fire in the veins of a princess. The battle turned the pristine halls of the Argus into chaos. Serenia moved like a storm incarnate, her hand raised, energy rippling outward in waves that disarmed attackers and warped their weapons into useless slag. Where she stepped, marauders faltered. Marcus fought beside her, covering her flanks, stunned by the precision of her movements. She was no damsel in need of rescue. She was a commander who had once led legions. At one point, a marauder lunged at Marcus from behind. Serenia's hand snapped up, and a surge of radiant force flung the attacker across the corridor. Her gaze flicked to Marcus, sharp as a blade. "I warned you what happens when I am touched. That applies doubly to them." Despite the battle raging around them, Marcus almost laughed. Hours stretched into eternity, but finally the marauders retreated. Their vessel limped into warp, unwilling to face the fury of a reborn Illyrian princess. The Argus was scarred but intact. Part 5. The Weight of Survival. In the aftermath, Captain Reese faced a dilemma greater than battle. What to do with Serenia? Keeping her aboard endangered the ship. Delivering her to any known world risked igniting conflicts Terrans weren't ready for. It was Serenia herself who offered the solution. "There are still places where Illyrian beacons lie dormant," she explained. "Hidden archives, repositories of knowledge. Can guide you there. With your fleet's aid."